Hi, welcome. I'm Stuart Carden, Artistic Director of Kansas City Repertory Theater, and you're joining us for our Thursday night mixer. And I'm really thrilled to welcome you, and thanks for spending a little time with us. I'm going to introduce this week's guests, and then we're going to mix a cocktail, and then we're going to engage in some creative conversation, and then we're going to wrap things up with a little quick 1, 2, 3 question about what folks are excited on the other side of this socially distanced moment about going out and eating, drinking, and experiencing. You all are prepared with that, yes? 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 Yeah. Okay, so this week's guest, I'm really happy. I love the series for many reasons. One, to have an opportunity to check in with artists that I've gotten to know during this time period, and also to start getting to know artists that, since I'm new to town, that I don't know as well. And so this is a really great opportunity to deepen some relationships and some conversations, and then also a really great opportunity for me personally to get to know some folks, and also hopefully those that have joined us to get to know them along the way. This week's guests include actor, writer, and designer Justin Barron.
Hi everyone.
Justin.
How's it going?
Theater artist April Brewer, who does have a KCRep association, which I'm sure we'll get into. And actor Allison Jones.
Hello. Oh, sorry, I didn't speak. Sorry. Hi.
And I just saw Allison about 10 minutes ago before to drop off a cocktail kit. We're gonna mix this cocktail in a moment. I hope some of you at home are gonna mix along with us. And I just saw you maybe, it's probably 15 minutes ago now.
Yeah, and you got right home.
I'm still sweating a little bit from the dash back from dropping off the cocktail kit. So I am going to enjoy this drink. So as many of you know that have joined us before, we have this really great partnership and sponsorship from our Thursday night mixer sponsor, Lifted Spirits Distillery. And they're sponsoring this and have been providing spirits and cocktail kits that you can buy from them by ordering online at liftedspiritskc.square site. That you can pick up at their distillery at 1734 Cherry Street, which I was at earlier today. And so many thanks to Lifted Spirits for partnering with us and sponsoring this series. I am very interested in this drink, the Boozy Sweetheart. It's Ruby Jeans, and maybe you all can help me with Ruby Jeans a little bit. Ruby Jeans,
shout out to, Chris Good.
Juice.
Yeah.
And Lifted Spirits barrel aged gin. And they typically give us really precise measurements for everything. And this time they're like, good luck. So maybe you all can I don't know, maybe I'll follow someone's lead. Who has an impulse on this drink?
I don't drink often, but when I do, gin's the one. And this shows you how often I'm measuring with this because it's at 1.5 ounces. So just above a fourth.
Oh, so yours has specifications.
Yeah, it's on this little thing. It says 1.5 ounces. I mean, and then the rest is like add ice and top.
Mine does not. Okay.
So they wanted a party out of you. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna follow you then. So okay, Allison, will you walk us through with
Yes. It says Boozy Sweetheart, 1.5 ounces of Lifted Spirits Barrel Reserve.
Great. So this is a Barrel Reserve number 2 gin finished in oak barrels.
Yes.
I am going to
pour how you please.
I have my measurer right here.
Justin had a very nice measure. I was looking.
Let's see it.
Yeah, like same. Yeah. Look at that.
Ooh.
One day I'll have everything. Okay. And
April, is yours metal or is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Okay.
And
So 1.5?
Yes, 1.5. And then after you've done that, step 2, add ice and top with Ruby Jean's juice, which has lemon, ginger, and apple. Tart.
So it doesn't say specifically how much
Absolutely not.
juice.
Okay.
It says top.
Yeah.
It smells amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a fun pour situation. Okay. People.
It smells delicious.
Okay.
Ah, there you go.
And then you're doing it over ice, and you're just then stirring.
Yes, stir it with whatever you've got. And then the last instruction is to enjoy. So there you go.
This smells very good.
It smells good.
Allison,
Yeah.
thank you for leading me through that. I love that. Can we
I
make
think you could have got there, but
can we do this more often? I like this.
please and thank you.
Well, the Boozy Sweet Tart. Thank you all for making some time to have a conversation and to connect with one another, which is so needed in this time, and to share a drink. It's good to see each of you, and cheers.
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 Mmm.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good choice.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
that's good.
What's in the batch again? What are the Ruby Jeans?
Lemon, ginger, and apple.
Mm-hmm.
Now, specific apple, I can't tell you. But
And I'm a big fan of barrel-aged gin.
what does that mean?
So most gin isn't aged at all, which is why it's clear. It's
I was
just
wondering about that.
botanical infused alcohol. But this gin is aged in barrels, which makes it darker as it sits in the barrel, picks up that color from the barrel. So
Oak barrels, it says.
tastier because it's got that smokiness to it.
Mm-hmm. So good.
And then
I love nature. That's great. That's great.
I love humans. That humans are like working out how to soak up oak barrel flavor into gin because
Right.
we're
Who thought of that?
humans and
So smart.
we're particular about our drinks. I'm just adding. I think I made mine a little strong, so I'm adding a little more Ruby Jeans to mine right now.
Sounds
You
good.
had the measurement though, Stuart.
Jeans.
Not the juice measurement. Oh, no, you did have the specifics.
I don't. Oh, I don't feel like I know the Ruby Jeans, the backstory with the juicery. Does anybody have the insight on Ruby Jeans?
Yeah, it's a guy, I believe his name's Chris Good. It's only been around a couple years. He's a young Black entrepreneur, and his grandmother is Ruby Jean, and she actually died from, I can't remember specifically what it was. You can find this all out on their website. I'm not giving anybody's business away, but you can find it on the website. But I think it was a cardiac issue, but it was brought on by a long life of eating food that just all of our grandmothers love.
Right.
And so he started Ruby Jeans to be like, there's a better way to eat, and then you can create a lifestyle around it. And he's a part of the community too within the city, and so it's pretty cool.
That's
and
great.
they're in Whole Foods too. He's
No,
actually got a storefront in Whole Foods.
Right.
That's really cool.
And there's also standalone Ruby Jeans as well, right?
Yeah. The main one's at 30 Truths or 3,000 Truths. I think it's 3,000 Truths.
And I've only had the juice there. Is that exclusively what it is, or is there also other foods, or is it?
They have food. Yeah.
Food as well. Okay.
Bites and such.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian. Is it vegetarian?
It's vegan.
It's vegan? Why haven't I been there? This is on my list. This is on my ever growing list.
Yeah.
That's great. So thank you all for making some time to have a little creative conversation. I'm excited about this. All three of you have a lot going on at this moment, including April Sunburn, who I told you I was going to call you out, who April just got back.
About this? Did Amanda tell you about my sunburn?
No, I mean, I didn't think it was my color balance. You have some color right now. You have some color.
I do, indeed, yes.
But you just did a little had a little trip out into the wilds, and just got back from that, right?
Yeah, we got back last night.
That's great. And I know that Allison, I just saw some of your digital work in this moment. Just
Stressful. Worth it, but stressful.
And was it stressful?
It required all of us to have cinematic skills that we did not know we had.
Well, I'm excited about talking about that. Like what in this moment, because we're not able to do the work that we typically are engaged in. What are those, as part of this conversation, it would be fun to talk about what are those skill sets and things that you're trying and things that feel like this is just of the moment and things that feel like, oh, I'm going to follow this into the future. And this is now going to be a part of something that's incorporated into my life. And it would be fun to talk about all of those things because Justin, I feel like there's some things in that category for you right now as well, in terms of some of the digital platform work that you're doing. And then I also think in terms of the social justice movement right now and the reflection on equity in the theater, that all of us are also thinking about how what we're engaged in right now is going to continue to be incorporated into our future work and our future perspective and values around theater and why. And so it would be great to talk about all of that during this conversation, if you want the game.
How many minutes do we have?
I think I just took up the entire time. So thank you for coming, everybody. Game.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Lifted Spirits. Allison, I'm also noticing that I just had a hat on and it looks like I've been hit in the head by something now that I'm getting close. So Allison, you just named a truth and we're just getting to know each other. But you just named a truth about me is I do go on a bit. So that's a lot to cover in this precious 60 minutes. But we can accept the challenge. For us, we can handle this. Well, how about we start, if you're all game for this, how about we start talking about what you're engaged in creatively right now. And I'm not going to set this up in an extensive way, but right, the heart of what we do, and that is our art form, has been disrupted, and we're all working to navigate the question marks about when we're going to get back to our art form and our way of telling stories in the traditional way. And in the meantime, all of us are engaged in exploring either our art form during this time in other ways and in other mediums, or stepping into new ways of storytelling or new ways of being an artist, of being a theater practitioner in this moment. So if I can, I'll open it up just that broadly and ask, how are you engaging creatively right now? And what has surprised you during this time? And what do you feel like is going to stick? And what do you think is just of the moment?
Well, and please keep me in check because I tend to ramble a lot too, and I have so much that I feel like I want to talk about here. So keep me in check there, people. Yeah, one of the good things about being in theater, and having all of this. I mean, it's bad in a way, of course, but like going in between jobs and having those moments of not knowing where your next job is coming, and where your next creative challenge will be coming in. Before COVID stuff happened, I mean, I had to kind of learn how to continually challenge myself creatively and artistically at home. And so, I started getting into RPGs. I don't know if anybody here has ever played Dungeons and Dragons, things like that. Role-playing games where you are, storytelling with people in the same room, collaborating, and it's like doing improv comedy in a way, mixed with working out character developments as you go, and it's an adventure, and it's great. So I got into that a long time ago, and I've continued to do that through these past couple months, even more so with even more people. And I think the big thing that I've put a lot of my time behind is actually kind of a combination of that medium of RPGs, of tabletop role playing, with the lack of theater. So a group of friends and I got together and decided, hey, theaters may not be around for the next 6 months, year, whatever. And there's not a lot of movies coming out right now either, which I'm a big movie guy. So that's, I wanted some kind of content, and I was thinking, so basically we came up with the idea of Ghostlight Gamers, which is a group that we're all theater artists in the Kansas City area, and we're basically just trying to keep storytelling alive for people to watch weekly, on a weekly basis, and just kind of like hour-long increments. But the idea, Ghostlight Gamers, we're trying to keep the lamp lit even when theaters go dark. So yeah, I mean, and it's been great. It's been great so far, and I think we're having a lot of fun with it. And it's kind of letting us have that theatrical storytelling, nature in our lives every week, which is kind of helping us individually, and hopefully helping anybody who's watching as well. So that's kind of been my big thing. I'm not going to ramble on right now, so somebody else take it away.
Awesome. It's a great name for that group, Ghostlight Gamers, and especially so it's all theater artists that are engaged.
It is, yeah, yeah. Andy Perkins, Emma Carter, Kelsey Botwinick-Ruza, Ryan Ruza, and myself. So all Kansas City theater artists in different ways, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
And so if people want to check it out, can they check it out, or is this
For sure.
Okay. How do they do it?
Yeah, free for everyone. We are. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GhostlightKC, and then also just go on YouTube and look up Ghostlight Gamers, and you can find all of our videos in order there, and just kind of catch up on the story. We're only like six episodes in, so it's pretty easy to catch up.
And so, and a really quick just reference for those that might have seen Justin acting on stages around the city. Justin works quite regularly at the Unicorn Theater and Heart of American Shakespeare Festival, and also was at KCRep before my time with KCRep in a production directed by Marissa Wolf of Man in Love. And then Creed Rep, I've heard so much about. So, and you spend some summers out at Creed Rep in Colorado as well.
Yes, yeah. Every one of those experiences you just named, I love each of those theaters very much. So, yeah, it's great.
That's great. So, Allison or April, there are opportunities in this moment. I mean, there are. Despite a lot of the heartache and a lot of the uncertainty, there are opportunities in this moment as an artist to explore different mediums, to explore different aspects of artistic and theater self. So are there things that you have been engaged in that have been fulfilling or surprising, or just sustenance for the moment even?
April, you want to? Oh yeah, I'll take it short. I I was fine for a while. I was fine. I was really happy when the sun came out during all this because we had several weeks in the spring of just doom and gloom clouds. And after the self-taping kind of stopped, like the active auditioning of all this stopped, which I had never really self-taped before. That was the first time I'd ever done it, was during this process. That was a goal of mine this year, was to learn the art of that, which this has forced my hand. I was telling them before we went live, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was like, oh, now there's really nothing to do anymore. And it's almost like I never should have said that, because I think every artist hit that exact same wall and decided to start creating, because like Justin said, there's no foreseeable future. There's no end in sight. So we just have to start creating something. And I've just had random projects come my way, whether they're like, would you help do our cabaret? Or would you want to read this script? Or would you want to make a music video? would you want to be in a class? And that's been, I feel like I'm getting both Justin and April's job. I'm getting the opportunity to learn, because they both have these skills in acting, and these all, like, every time I see April at an event, she's doing 10,000 things. Like, she's putting up lights, she's fixing sound, she's finding cables, and it's incredible. And she knows how to use all those things too. And Justin is an actor and has been acting for so long, and I'm really new to all this. And so I feel like this experience, one, being in a scene study class with Lisa Rothy, shout out to Lisa Rothy, has been really helpful. And then also learning these behind the scenes camera work, lighting, and all that stuff is just giving me skills that maybe I didn't necessarily want to learn right now, but have been really helpful.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and if you, I don't know how they will find it, but your
Katie Gilchrist, her Facebook page. It's
on Katie Gilchrist's Facebook page, your Hamilton piece is so incredible. And you were talking about, like, I have to figure out how to be a filmmaker, and it is really awesome. It's shot well,
movie.
Sound amazing. It is so true. I've been so impressed by all of those that have been coming out kind of under the radar, because there's some Disney questions that we'll ignore for now. But
the mouse.
But it's so amazing. Like, so many, I've been so moved by them, and it's been so delightful and exciting to see artists that I'm just getting to know take on this iconic story and characters, and also have to bring their own filmmaking and skill sets to interpreting it. That's been really exciting, and yours is awesome.
It was a community. It's the definition of a community effort.
Yeah.
So the skills we didn't have, we could ask others who did it.
Yeah.
Using the equipment we didn't have, we could ask others who had it. So it was great.
And Allison at KCRep has been in A Christmas Carol. What year was that?
2018.
Okay. Christmas Carol. And then Schoolgirls, or the African Mean Girls play. And then for those that were with us early, and I can't believe it was earlier this year.
It's the same year.
Fun Home. And she played so beautifully Joan in Fun Home, and it was, I just loved your performance in it. I just thought, like, the depth of characterization combined with just you activating every ounce of humor in that character effortlessly was so impressive. And I really loved you in it. And that production was gorgeous on every level. And you were phenomenal in it.
My very Midwest.
And that was right before. That was right before, like, we got all of Fun Home in, but kind of just barely. It feels time is, in relationship to the pandemic, is so wild. That feels like another lifetime ago, at least for me. And it was just in February, March.
Mm-hmm. It was. We ended it in February. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ended in February. Yeah.
April knows.
How about you? How about for you, April? During this time, are there things that you've been engaged in that are either of the moment or a different skill set, or you'll carry with you into the continuation of your career?
Yeah, I think my perspective on this is quite a bit different from Justin and Allison, since I'm not an outward facing artist. My
Yeah.
work is so much more inward facing. So I'm not on stage. So those things that people are creating right now, that's not work that I can necessarily be doing in a lot of ways. So much of my work is all about facilitating other people's artistry and facilitating other people's dreams and visions. And so not being able to actively be working with people makes it really, really hard to engage creatively.
Yeah.
Without actually being, in meetings, planning productions and things like that. There's not a lot that I can necessarily do. So I've been engaging in a lot of different ways. I think early on, because of how everything went down, you know this, Stuart, when COVID hit was at a perfectly horrible time with the opening of our New Works Festival, which is something that I put a lot of work into. And so that was a major heartbreak for me. So I think early on I disengaged. I felt overwhelmed by all the content being created. And I just kind of shoved it away because I was too heartbroken from that loss. So I've spent this time more focused on reflection. So I spent a lot of time outside hiking, although now being back in Kansas City, it's so hot here. We spent the last 2 weeks up in Minnesota where they're having a heat wave, but it was still cooler than here. So we spent a lot of time hiking, a lot of time outdoors. And I use that time to really reflect on what's going on and on myself and what work I can do to create a better industry. I'm furloughed right now, so I'm not working for 2 months. So in place of that, I always need to have something that I'm doing. If not, I just kind of go crazy and stay in bed all day. So I've recently started a certificate program in diversity and inclusion online. And so I'm hoping to, the things that I learn and the skills that I acquire, I'm hoping to use to support the work that I do and the work that I want to do. And the values that I hold in implementing those into our field.
April, you're amazing. You're somebody that from when I came to Kansas City, and you and I worked in the office about 6 feet from each other. And you may have regret the fact that my door was always open and I was always engaging April, because April is so incredible in her ability to both have a technical and managerial expertise, and also is somebody that is you want to further ideas, projects, and explore what's possible, because your willingness not just to say yes, but your willingness to explore and engage a new idea and ideate how we might do something better is always so positive and refreshing. And we got to work on, something that had no budget, it didn't exist before we said, okay, we're going to do a big season preview where we announced the upcoming season. And we had no budget for it. It wasn't built in because the budget was made before I arrived. But we were like, we're going to do this. And April stepped in and said, yes, I'm going to partner with you, and I'm going to bring the entire company together to facilitate this night. That was so fulfilling and rewarding and exciting. And so your partnership at KCRep has been so appreciated. And your work, particularly around inclusion, that is already a part of how you manifest on a daily basis. I'm excited to see what this additional training is going to bring to the culture of the theater. And April is the assistant production manager at KCRep, and as she mentioned, is right now on furlough, and which just reflects on the state of our industry. Honestly, that there are significant, really incredible artists, artisans, theater leaders at KCRep that right now are furloughed and off contract, because as you all out there know, that right now there's some real question as to when we can be performing for live audiences again, and then the ticket sales that come along with that help sustain an organization like KCRep have just been hurt terribly earlier this spring, and we're working as safely, smartly, and thoughtfully as we can to get back to live performance in this coming season. But there's a lot of doubt and a lot of question. Many of you all out there, I'm sure, saw the announcement about some of our really loved other performing arts in the city: symphony, ballet, the lyric opera, the Jewel Harriman series, right now putting a halt to performances through the end of the year. So we're all navigating this moment in ways that were unexpected and at times really hard on the heart and spirit. And I think it's a testament to someone like you, April, who is looking to this moment to say, how can I in this time continue to develop skills, a perspective, and have an impact on the future of KCRep, but also the field. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate the work that you're doing while you're away from KCRep right now. That's why she's listed as theater artist today. There's, oh my goodness, it's already 6:35. So can I ask this, which is, okay, we barely, you were right, Justin, you were right, Allison, we barely even like gotten into this. But are there some things, like, this is really interesting to me. Are there some things that you're reading, things that you're listening to, things that you are consuming creatively that is nurturing you, helping you reflect on this moment, providing an escape from this moment? Like, what are the things creatively that you are consuming? Music for me, and I've said this on previous Thursday night mixers, music for me has been like both my escape and a window into the moment. I just listened to this amazing album by Salt, S-A-U-L-T. I don't know if any of you all know Salt, that has been churning. They're kind of secretive, at least from my perspective, kind of secretive band that you don't know a lot about the individuals in the band, but they've churned out a bunch of albums in a really short amount of time, including one that just came out, I think, in mid-June, that is called Untitled parentheses Black Is. And it's this amazing, amazing album that is written absolutely about this moment. And it combines a huge array of musicality and rhythms and spoken word and direct recorded recordings from protests, and it is just opened up a kind of effortlessly, it has opened up musically this moment and ask you to reflect and get you amped up and fired up and get you angry, and also gives you space to like live in the moment. And so my thing right now has been late night after the twins go to sleep, taking a walk and listening to an album from beginning to end. And music has always been so important to me, but like it is sustenance right now for me. So that's the thing for me that I've been consuming. How about for other people? What have you been consuming? What have you been turning to? What's been inspiring you in this moment?
This is gonna sound very silly, but I shared it with my scene study class this past week because we're always asked like opening question, hey, what grounded you this week? What grounded you this week? And a couple weeks ago, so I can sing a touch, but I've never been a soulful singer. That is not where this soprano sits. So I've always been very jealous of people who can do vocal runs and improvisation and all that. And so I started with my roommate. We sing together all the time, and she's not in the theatrical world. We just have fun, which it's nice that it's not for pressure. It's just fun. But I've decided, you know what? We're just gonna start running up and down these vocal lines and have fun with it and just laugh at the end of it because it's hilarious to even try it. Sometimes like that worked out. It landed on key. So that is like singing with no stakes has been very, very helpful.
And when you say singing with no stakes, for those that aren't in the theater world, what do you mean by singing?
Yeah. So there is no one is expecting it to be exactly what they paid for. Yeah. It doesn't have to land correct. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, and that's me too. I give my own self stakes. There should be results very soon, if not immediately. Like we've done an hour of work. Where is that? How is that being shown? But like kind of letting that go and starting to understand what it means to be in process creatively. Because I also share this with my class. I said, I should have gone to a liberal arts school. I have a biology degree, so I'm very science oriented. Like I'm like, we all learn in one class, we all learn the same things by test time. We all know or somewhat can kind of consume this information. And theater is not that. Every group, every pair, every individual is at a different place. And I had to break down and learn that and cry to my teacher and then be like, cool, I feel less stressed.
That's amazing. You were a biology major.
Yeah.
I was one credit short. I was a biology major first and then switched to theater. I was one credit short.
You could have took that class.
I should have taken that class.
You could have.
I could have. I know. But you also work at the zoo.
I used to. Yeah. I worked at the zoo for just under. I worked at the zoo for just under 7 years. I left last summer. It was not a want. I did not want to leave the zoo. It was you were being called to do something else, and you can't live in both these worlds fully anymore. So I made the step before Corona to fully dive into a career. But I regret none of it because it is forcing my hand in my goals. So yeah, I worked at the zoo. And before all this, I did a little segment with them called Wild Wednesdays that you can find on the KC Zoo's YouTube page.
That's awesome.
Dive into science and wildlife each Wednesday.
Wild Wednesdays with Allison Jones. I love it. So Justin, April, what is providing you creative sustenance or heart sustenance or intellectual sustenance that you're consuming right
now? For me, it's been trying to find other mediums of art. So I started watching, I took a deep dive into YouTube and I started watching drawing videos, and found pretty quickly that you can learn a lot from free YouTube videos. And so I've actually started getting kind of serious about drawing and whatnot. And when I was a kid, I mean, who am I kidding? Right now, I love comic books. And so like kind of I've just been kind of going through the drawing styles, animation styles, and trying to like soak up as much as I can of all of that and just try to learn a new format of art, honestly. Just in case, something in my back pocket,
I watched your Shakespeare Pokemon mashup.
Yes.
Which is great. So Justin did a mashup of significant Shakespearean characters and Pokemon style, or were you mashing up actual characters across?
So, yeah, there was a popular thing earlier this year where it's called Pokesonas. So Pokemon, everybody knows what Pokemon is, and it was like one of those like BuzzFeed
No,
things where it's
Justin,
like
they don't know.
they don't know. Okay, sorry. Well, I don't have time to explain Pokemon, but it's called Pokesonas, and it's basically like if you were a Pokemon gym leader, who would your Pokemon be? And
Yeah.
so I bet, it's one of these like ideas that I wake up in the middle of the night with, like, hey, you know what? What if Hamlet had a Pokesona? Who would his Pokemon be? And then I go and I give Hamlet a full-on Pokemon backstory, and I mean, this is the content that this is how my brain creates in these times.
If this is attractive to you, you could check out Nerd Nacho, which is your
Yes.
which is the platform for nerdy fare just like this. If that's your thing, Nerd Nacho is your answer. I really had fun with it, and I loved like hearing your backstory of as you were you were narrating on top of drawing. If you were doing both at one time, that is insane.
Editing, lots of editing.
And so, April, for you, is there something that is sustaining you, or you're really turning to right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now I think the content I'm consuming is a lot of like comfort food for me. So I'm rewatching a lot of shows that I've loved in the past, like Modern Family or One Day at a Time, things like that I've just like really, really loved. And so they just feel good to watch.
Yeah.
I also read a lot. I don't know if that's obvious. But I read a lot. So I've been able to actually focus on doing that. And I've been thinking a lot about what I have on my bookshelf. And trying to decenter whiteness in my bookshelf, because I realized that there is a bit of a supremacy issue there. So I've been trying to diversify what I'm reading and just learn about different stories. And so that's just been really fun, really enjoyable.
And you just posted a pic of you, either mid-novel or just finished novel. What was the novel you just finished, and would you recommend it?
Yeah, the most recent book I finished, I have right here. It's called The Bride Test. This particular author, Helen Huang, she is an Asian American writer, and she has autism, and she writes romance novels, which romance isn't normally something that I get into, but because she's autistic, she always writes one of her characters as an autistic person, and so reading her writing from that point of view is absolutely fascinating, especially in romance. I love her writing. It's so easy just to read it and fall in love with the characters, and just fantastic.
That's awesome.
What'd you say the author's name was?
Helen Huang.
Huang, and it's called The Bride Test.
Yeah, she has another book
called, that's what I'm doing, taking notes.
Yes, I love it. She has another book called The Kiss Quotient, which is also really, really good.
Okay.
Helen Huang, Salt. Got it.
I got Salt. I went to Spotify real quick and found that.
Salt is awesome. So we've got a bunch of questions. I have been a poor negotiator of time during this.
Live your life. You hear me? Live your life.
We've had a bunch of like very fun. I don't see all of them because I can't focus here and see all of them at the same time. But a bunch have been sent to me, and there's a bunch of fun ones, a bunch of deep ones. I feel like let's touch on a couple of them pretty quickly. We're at 6:47. We wrap in 13 minutes. And we also want to end with our what are you going to eat, drink, and experience on the other side of this. So we'll leave a couple minutes for that. So we probably have about, at best, 10 minutes to engage a couple of these questions. We could engage one for an hour. So forgive us, those that have asked questions that we're not going super deep. I'm going to ask hopefully a quick one first, which is what is everyone's favorite board game? And I think this question came in all the way back at D&D. So what is everyone's favorite board game? Let's say no explanations, just say the name of your favorite board game.
Clue.
Clue or life?
Legendary.
I don't even know what that is.
But we know what genre it's in. That's all.
I'm explaining already. Sorry. Risk. Nostalgic, but Risk.
Yeah.
My brother. I think of my brother that's the game that we played all the time.
It makes a lot of sense because you like to draw things out. So that's.
Ouch.
You saw where that came from.
No, it takes one to know one. Justin and I.
We're on the same wavelength.
In my Zoom, he's right here, so I'm pointing at him right here in my Zoom. There's so many good ones right here. A meaningful question from a previous. That was from Nicole Marie Green, the favorite board game. Darrington Clark asks, what do you think regional theater can learn most from the current wave of the Black Lives Matter movement? And I'm even hesitating sharing that question because of how much time we have. But would someone here want to reflect on that? What do you think? Darrington, who was on this series just a couple weeks ago. Hi, Darrington, if you're still with us. What do you think regional theater can learn most from the current wave of the Black Lives Matter movement?
I think the most concise thing is we are not looking for a patch on the blanket. We're looking for threads and fabric. So that is what we're looking for. We are looking for institutional change, and that is not just something you can sew on real quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know I mentioned this earlier. We just got back into town from Minnesota and we did a lot of hiking. And we're up at Lake Itasca, which is where the headwaters of the Mississippi River is. And it's this beautiful state park. And so we did 8 miles of hiking that day, and we walked through this really cool area that had all these old red pine trees, 300-year-old red pines. And something I read was that to be able to reproduce, red pines have to burn down. So you'd be walking through the forest and you would see all these scorched trees, just random scorched trees, nothing else around them was scorched, but just randomly. And that really got me thinking of, to be able to reproduce, they have to burn down the old growth. And what in our industry do we just need to burn down to move forward? What is it that we just need to completely say, this isn't working, we need to build from the bottom up? And I don't know the answer to that, but I think it's a question.
Those are very, very hard to follow things that you've just both said. I agree completely with both of them, and I would just add that more Black voices consistently, not just once in a season, but throughout the entirety of the foundation of each local company, and into the shows that are being produced and whatnot.
And yours too, Justin. We need people of color. We need accessibility for those who are differently abled. Diversity and inclusion is not Black or white.
Mm-hmm.
There's sexism, there's racism, there's all of those things.
And that's one of the things that I really value about the Black Lives Matter movement, is that while it's centered on Black lives, it's also deeply inclusive, and its principles and values are about bringing our entire community forward in inclusivity. And that's one of the things that is the most inspiring and moving, one of many things that are inspiring and moving about the Black Lives Matter movement, is that, to just speak of Breonna Taylor right now, the Black Lives movement is centering the loss of her life and the militarization and escalation of police violence that is affecting not only Black men, but also Black women, is also impacting other communities of color. I'm inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement because of its inclusivity. And that's one of the things, Darrington, from your question, that I think I'm taking and learning from the current wave of the Black Lives Matter movement is that it is, yes, about centering the voices and the perspectives of Black stories, artists, and approaches to theater, but also bringing along inclusively a reflection of Kansas City and a reflection of this community. And that's one of the things that I find really inspiring about the Black Lives Matter movement is that it's not a singular focus. It is focused on moving us all forward together, and that's inspiring and moving. We're at 6:54. Can we take one more question and then one more question and then try to fit in super fast the eat drink experience? It's gonna be another big one. Maybe I have to. I think I have to choose. I'm sorry for those that have asked really thoughtful, amazing questions that have been passed on, but I think I have to choose something that like we can do in a bite-sized amount. I can't do that one. It's huge. It's all huge.
There's just a lot.
Adam Terry, I can't do that one. I'm sorry. At this time, I'm sorry, I can't do that one. But I will say theater experience that has been particularly moving to you. A theater experience that has been, because we can just like name them and not explain them. Name them and not explain them. Theater experience that has been particularly moving to you. And then we'll spend the last 2 minutes on eat, drink, and experience.
Marissa Wolf's A Curious Incident.
I wish I was around for the Marissa Wolf years. That's great.
I would say Fun Home. All of tech and watching the show. I cried every single time. All of Fun Home.
I'm going to be selfish and say a show that I've been in and say Nomad Motel at the Unicorn.
Come on.
Honestly, every new work that I've done, just ever. That's my answer.
Carla, what's her last name?
Nowak.
Nowak?
Oh, Carla Ching.
Carla Ching. Yeah. She's terrific. That's great.
I thought you were moving on. I didn't know you were talking about my thing. Sorry.
I gave my graveyard ghost storytelling thing, which was very like influential to me becoming a theater artist on many other talks. So I'm going to do something else right now. Theater experience that was very meaningful to me. Was the first time that I saw City Theater Company, SITI, Saratoga International Theater Institute, who's this amazing ensemble led by Anne Bogart, who's one of my heroes and mentors in American theater. And I saw a production of Miss Julie done in the round on a dais with a table, a chair, and a trap in the floor. And it was one of the most provocative, surprising, sensual. I dedicated myself to becoming a theater artist because of that production. And that was, and I then luckily got to be her assistant and work with her for many years. And that production made me think, I want to spend my life doing this. It was that production of Miss Julie. That was at Actors Theater of Louisville in
I've heard of that. Yeah.
1992.
Yeah.
None of you were born then.
Yes, I was.
Was.
Terrible twos.
I was born that year, so that counts.
Thriving.
No, you know what? Actually, no, I'm wrong. It was 1996. So you were.
I had thoughts. I had opinions.
Yeah.
96.
I really appreciate that. Like, I don't get access to all the questions that came in, but the questions that came in, I really appreciate all the questions that came in. That like, I wish we could spend some more time engaging, and I really appreciate each and every one of you that have joined us for this. And Justin and Allison and April, thank you for connecting and having some fun and commiserating and dreaming. We need all of those things right now. And so thank you and thank you and thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for having these conversations. You know, the fun of it, and also just like the hard conversations that need to be had in a public forum like this. So
yeah.
We're gonna do Eat, Drink, Experience in 1 minute. We're already over time. Eat, Drink, and Experience. I'm gonna call on people because we have to go that fast. Eat, Drink, and Experience. April.
I would go to a drag show with my friends. Drink, I would go to a wine tasting with my best friend Amanda. And eat, I would go to Lydia's with Adam.
Boom. You named people.
I did.
Allison.
I would drink something with juice. Doesn't matter from where. I would eat anything dairy, please. And because I can't have it. And I don't care where I am, as long as it's not awkwardly distanced and there's no fear with my friends and we get to laugh. So
Oh, yes. Justin.
I will go to a packed theater at Screenland Armor in North Kansas City, and I will eat popcorn and M&Ms, and I will drink a sour beer.
Yes. I would love to do all those things with all of you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to wrap things quick because people have other things to do. For those that joined us, thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank again our sponsors, Lifted Spirits Distillery, and invite you to join us for next week for our Thursday mixer. While you all wave, I'm going to see if I can quickly pull up my notes from Amanda Aroney, who helped deliver cocktail kits today. And no, I'm not going to do this right now. We will highlight next week's guests. This is where I'm at today. I'm sorry. We will highlight next week's guests on social coming up. Thank you to Jen Spa, who's been working behind the scenes to make this conversation happen and make it seamless. And thanks for joining us for KCRep's Thursday night mixer. Okay, bye.